Welcome back, listeners of the Tron Podcast. This is your host, Rashad Woods. Today, I have a very special guest today. We have a multi-talented actor, model, as well as painter of murals. And quite honestly, I'm envious of how his body looks, to be honest with you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Nate Mays, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Rashad. Just happy to be here in a little earlier time zone. So I'm just glad we could make this work. And
for sure.
I'm kind of missing sunny California right now, to be honest.
Are you back in Arkansas?
I'm back in Arkansas, and I love it here so much, but I'm in the hottest month of the year, and it's just brutal.
Yeah, I've been down there in August before, to be quite honest with you. So I certainly know exactly what you're talking. I'm right up in Michigan, and we're just having a really, really tough heat wave right now. So, I'm glad you made it back home safely, man, and you got a little AC going on right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had the honor and pleasure of looking up the work that you do, and obviously you're from Arkansas originally, and you made the cross-country trip across LA to get into the acting and entertainment world, and you're doing really successful. So please tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I grew up in small town Arkansas, really family-oriented community, and I got bored, I guess. And I've always kind of been drawn to the arts, whether it's really any type of art, except for music. I'm not very good at music, but I guess I did musical theater. So, I was a theater kid, and I wanted to make that switch to television. I grew up watching movies. They really kind of shaped me in a lot of ways. And I knew LA was the place to do that. So I had a father in LA. So that was really helpful for the transition. And after college, I just kind of packed up and left.
Good for you. And what's amazing is I watched your interview that you had with Eugenia. I don't want to butcher her name. And it said you were inspired by watching movies with your grandmother. And that's such a family experience, right? Where you start to see yourself as one of the characters. And you're like, I saw some of your dream roles were like, the Southern rugged kind of outlaw that's really character well developed. And I'm a big fan of Yellowstone, the 1984. So I'm like, while you're saying that, I'm like, I could see like one of those roles for you, right? Like where it's just like, rugged terrain, maybe character flawed, maybe nice guy, not so nice guy. So does that kind of fit your background of your dream roles?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Growing up, I watched a lot of movies with my grandmother, and then my granddad, he got me on the Westerns. And I remember Clint Eastwood, Doc Holliday, and just those, I was like so drawn in by these characters. And it definitely manifested something in me because I've always loved Westerns. And so super excited to play some Western roles. I'm actually producing just a short film right now, 15, 20 minutes long.
Nice.
I'm with some friends and really, really talented people working on it. So I'm excited to just kind of dip my toes. I played a little bit of Western before, nothing like on a series or movie yet. But I'm really excited to see how this film turns out and just get my face out there wearing a cowboy hat.
Dope. And so one thing about like when it comes to particularly Westerns was, I used to look up film history all the time. I'm far from a history buff, but they made a lot of them because they were back in the day very cheap to make. They could use the same set. You could use a lot of the same actors. You didn't have to build a lot of things. You could, if somebody got knocked out of a window, they could put the window right back up. So, John Ford back in the day when he's making all those movies with, that he made in the Westerns in the 30s and 40s and 50s, it was easy to make just because of the outlaw and terrain that they had to use. So I thought what was really fascinating about your background coming from Arkansas, what was the culture difference like? I mean, to come from theaters and plays in Arkansas to come to the epicenter of entertainment. Like, had you been there before to at least like prepare yourself?
Yes. Okay. Long story short, my dad is my sperm donor. I'm a product of artificial insemination.
Okay. Okay.
People don't know what that is,
Yeah, I do. Yes.
So he lived in LA. I met him when I was 18. We shared a common interest in painting. So we started doing murals out in LA together. That was my first introduction to the West. I mean, like I didn't go more west than Texas before I was 18. So I got to LA. I was like, man, this is weird. I would never live here. And then, 5-6 years later, I was like, I gotta live here.
Right.
And so the culture shock was definitely a lot. It's really easy to make friends in the South. It's more slow paced. There's not a lot of traffic and you have more opportunity, I feel like, to meet people, LA is just like everyone in LA, they're working towards something. They're working towards a career. They're working towards something. And it's just rush. So that was tough. First couple of years were were tough just because for me, I'm a big community person. And so not having my community was just different, you know? And
Of
so
course.
luckily I found my community eventually. And, you know, LA has really great people. It's just a little harder to find sometimes.
Right. And at the end of the day, I mean, irrespective of whether it's, at the end of the day, you went from a small town to a big city. So I'm sure if it was a Miami or an Atlanta, that could be something comparable. I thought what was fascinating about your background, first of all, your murals are fantastic. I got a chance to check out your Instagram page. I was like, and one struck out to me in particular, and I want to say this sensitively. What was about the picture with the gentleman over the woman's mouth? That was terrifying, right? What was that mural about, where the woman was kind of crying a little bit and then he had his hand on her shoulder?
Yeah, that was a project. I was drawing attention on sex trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that was my sister and my brother-in-law were actually I didn't know who the hell I would ask. Hey, who could be my models for this? And I asked them, and they said, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." And so,
Wow.
yeah, and so it was really, yeah, that was
it just stood out so much, man. It was like, everything was kind of, and I don't want to cut you off, but it was like happy. And it was like, boom. And you're like, whoa. This one just kind of stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, I feel like every artist kind of has their own agenda. Like, I like people to feel something. I like it to be impactful. I think there's some amazing non-objective abstract artists out there. Mm-hmm. I've just always been a realist, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a portrait of somebody, you know, it's got to stick them. So yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to do with that. I'm glad it resonated. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I think that when I painted that, I was like, that was just a subject that I was really passionate about. It's like, we really need to draw more attention on this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it definitely stood out to me. That's for sure. And so, obviously, one of the questions I had when you go to Hollywood, I'm not saying this in a bad way. What do people have to do to be successful, and how? I know it's competitive, so. When you first got there, what's your first objective? How do you meet? How do you start landing roles and ultimately get to the success level that you have so far?
Yeah, I think there's a certain ladder that you have to climb. There's certain steps you have to take, and I'm still got a lot of steps to go. But I mean, the biggest thing is just not quitting. I think normally most actors that move out there, they quit in their first 3 years.
Got it.
Even their first 2. I was a fish out of water, I had some people kind of tell me about the industry, but I really didn't have anyone that was super, hands-on successful inside the industry. So I had to find those people, seek them out. So once I kind of started to see the vision and know what steps I needed to take, then it started becoming easier, when I saw the framework. Still hard.
For sure.
But once I saw the framework and we can go down the framework if we want to.
Of course.
But just certain steps like, okay, start auditioning. Just see how it is. But, before you can get auditions, you have to have professional headshots. I had the worst headshots. I got them in Arkansas. Nothing against this guy, but I mean, a waste of money. It was just, no one knew how to do. Everyone was doing, if you got headshots, you were lucky if they were good theater headshots, but no one knew how to do actor headshots in Arkansas. Maybe there was, I just didn't find the right person. But I remember I showed them to some manager. I was very lucky to get a manager, and just, she really liked me. We hit it off.
Right.
She had a lot of connections. That was just pure luck. Like, I didn't have anything. I just had a really, really good conversation. I knew how to sell myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she looked at my headshot. She's like, yeah, no. So luckily she put me in touch with a guy that did really good headshots.
Awesome.
And then I'm like, okay, yeah, got the headshots. Get the real next. It's just a stepping ladder.
Right. And so, I mean, I got, and the problem is you don't know what you don't know. Right. And, at the end of the day. And so here you are coming from, and this is not a diss to Arkansas. It could be any town, right? You could just be like, hey, looks good to me. I'm glad I got a chance to go in the studio, but there are certain things that have to be, it won't even get made past a certain screening process if it's not in a certain format or a picture quality. It just won't. And that's the fact of the matter. Can you tell me a little bit about your modeling career? Because I had a chance to see that carpet interview that you had, and it was an event with Leah, and I do not want to mispronounce this woman's last name, but I thought that was really, really, really well done. You got a chance to interview about your modeling.
Yeah. Modeling is kind of new for me, and it's fun, and everything I do is really to promote my film career. And if that's, walking on a runway, sure,
Right.
I'm a bodybuilder, not a competitive bodybuilder,
I
but
saw
I'm a
that.
trainer, and so yeah, and so I try to promote myself, and
Right.
however I can, and so yeah, Layla's really cool. She I just signed with her recently, and
Mm.
doing some runway, some modeling things, and I was really nervous to get into modeling. I was like, I don't know, because I had a pre I kind of prejudged how that world was,
Okay.
and it's not as bad as I thought. Like really really cool people. Everyone has their own thing they're trying to promote. So I'm having fun with it. Yeah, wearing some cool clothes. Getting some fashion advice.
Can I just say, full disclosure, dude? You're over 6 feet tall. You're a bodybuilder, right? You work out, etc. I mean, why wouldn't they put you on a? I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like, I'm just like, they're looking at you like, dude, you're doing films, and then they see you in the gym, and then you have the characteristics that could fit this, right? I'm 8, right? So that shit ain't happening with me, right? So they're like, dude, you have to do this. And again, it's exposure for you, and it's positivity. I thought, when you said your interview, and I say this respectfully, when you did it again with Eugenia, it was like, I'm not a gym bro, which I kind of chuckled at, right? Because they see, right, your pictures, you're working out, you're muscled, right? And I do martial arts, right? So again, there's a stereotype of people who are like, they have to be like an MMA head, so to speak, because they do martial arts. No, that's a real person, and they're not just a quote unquote some type of individual. So I thought that you being well rounded in your skill set, you sell yourself really well, and I want to give you a lot of props and for that as well too.
I appreciate that, man. It's a funny thing, like when you get into a world where everyone starts to see you, the higher you climb. And
Mm-hmm.
so in one end, I'm like, well, I don't, as you grow, I think a lot of people should adopt. I don't really care how people see me as long as I like how I see myself,
Right.
and so that's very true for me. But, I also have to think like, well, no, I do have a certain persona to show the public, especially as I take roles, and like I've been offered some really crazy roles in the film industry, and if
Mm-hmm.
I took them, that's how I would be viewed in the public eye. And so I kind of go back to any role I'm offered, could my mom watch it?
No, right.
And so
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
some of them are a little edgy. I'm like, I don't know about this one, but if it's a hard no, then I'm like, I gotta pass, man. My mom can't watch it. So that kind of just helps me. Nothing against people that do some wild stuff out there,
For
but
sure.
I want, I got
Sleep
my
at night.
value. Yeah, I want to sleep at night, right?
And the thing is about it too is that there's also, you've heard actors who took roles that it really put them in a dark place even after they took that role, right? In all seriousness, because if you're playing a certain type of character, you have to live in that world. You have to embrace those certain characteristics. Like if you're playing a particularly very dark historical character that had a lot of negative characteristics, it can really take a mental toll on you, whether it's losing weight, whether it's having to say certain terms that you may as a person be uncomfortable saying, to capture that character. And to your point, if you're all in, you're all in. If you're not, it's better for that to be someone else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I want to do justice to the writing, and so if I can't do that, I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna waste the writer's time,
For
and
sure.
that's a whole nother thing. You got to be respectful. Just
Right.
because you don't fit the script, doesn't mean someone else
Right.
doesn't.
So here's a question. I'm always curious about this. And I say, again, you're in the film industry, so I don't want you to put you in a bad spot. But I always find it fascinating. A lot of films are based in New York, LA, TV shows all the time. But there's like a gap where there's not a lot of Southern shows. And like when you watch like True Detective season 1, it exploded, right? Because it was like, you don't get that Louisiana, Southern, you're from the South, right? Does it
Yeah.
ever say to you, like, man, there's a gap of history here that really needs to be told and really, I don't want to say neglected, but gets on the back burner, so to speak, when it comes to portrayal on film and television. And that's why I think like a Yellowstone and its spinoffs has been so successful, because I loved it because it was so much different from what usually came out. Because there's always a New York cop show coming out every week.
Yeah, man, I think about this a lot, and because I've seen anything Matthew McConaughey's in where he lives in a Southern lifestyle, it's really good because he's from the South.
Exactly.
He's from Texas, and so
Yes.
he gets it. And so I I know these people. You know, I've been in Arkansas, Texas. I got a family ranch in
Right.
Texas, like Louisiana, Tennessee. Like it's beautiful. First of all, I could go on and on about how beautiful the South is,
Right.
and yeah, it really needs to be brought to light. I mean, if I turn on a show that's Southern, based in a Southern town, I can tell like right off
It's not
if it's
authentic.
accurate. You know, and a lot of times they take the hillbilly stereotype way too
That's
far. I'm
my
like,
point.
hey, listen,
Real,
yeah, yeah,
real
yeah,
talk. Like, and I say this like, and I don't want to cut you off. I'm like, dude, like it's 2025. Not everybody has that. Like, this is not the banjo world that like you have
yeah.
internet. They
And
have.
I'm not even like, I'm not. It doesn't even make me like sensitive or like upset. It's just annoying, you know. I'm
Right.
just like, no, like you're really missing like the beauty of the South here, you know.
Right.
Like if you want to do a hillbilly story, go like way into the woods of West Virginia, you know.
Correct.
Like sure, those stories are fun too. Like I've traveled a lot in the South, and there's definitely some areas, but very scarce and very rare these days, you know.
Right.
So there's a lot of stories. Yeah, I think the accents for sure. Like I was watching, might have been Nicole Kidman or some A-list
Yeah.
actor that was like the Southern drawl was like just I haven't heard anyone with that accent, you know. So, but you know, what are you gonna do? They're doing their best, you know. I'm sure New Yorkers would say the same about my accent. I'm still working
Right.
on it.
Well, I just found it fascinating, right? Like, even like a crime show like Tulsa King, right? Like, it's really the
Yeah,
same central story of a criminal enterprise, but it's in Oklahoma, right? And so
yeah,
automatically you're drawn to that because you're like, they don't play shows in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? And
yeah.
it mattered. It mattered because it was different.
Yeah, or like Landman with
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
I
Right.
was like, this is pretty damn accurate, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And I know I saw some reviews like, oh, girls don't act like that. That's so unauthentic. I'm like, you've never dated a girl from Texas.
Yeah. Right.
It was
Right. And like I said, I was like, man, this guy's from Arkansas. I'm just like, it matters so much because when you do see those movies, like there's so much scenery. And like I talked to a fiction writer detective from North Carolina, and I said, what's it like to tell fiction from those areas and stuff? Because they're so unexplored in film and in television. And you're just like,
yeah.
it's just so fascinating because I think that there's a lot more that can be told from your guys' area that just doesn't get justice. And I hope that your future career and the roles you get can start portraying that because I know you have the talent to do so.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I would like to. I think it's a cool, you know, I like the niche of kind of showing a little bit of, you know, Southern authenticity in
Right.
my roles. So
Right.
at first I kind of saw it as an obstacle, but once I started seeing it, you know, the opposite of that, it kind of really helps me out
Right.
in the acting world. And yeah, it's really fun to bring that.
And just briefly on this, if the dollars are showing like it is with Tyler Sheridan, respectively from those areas, then others will follow as well too because they see this
Yeah,
because it mimics success, right? Because then he's from Texas. He's doing phenomenal on Paramount. So
he's great.
he's sensational, right? And so I watch everything he does. So just briefly, and I'm just gonna pivot a bit if that's okay. Tell me about your
Sure.
training regimen, man, because like you're in bodybuilding, right? And like I work out, but like how did you get to the point where this became like a part of you?
I don't know. I've always been passionate about being fit. I
Mhm.
started in organized sports and football at a young
Nice.
age, and I don't know. I've always just I really liked it, and I really liked feeling good. So I was kind of I had some autoimmune issues when I was younger, and that really sucked. And so I really had to
Discipline.
learn how to be healthy at a young age because I didn't want to feel like this. And I think a lot of people, something happens to them, or they get in this kind of funk and they don't really know how to get out of it. And so
Mhm.
I was blessed, I guess I could say, to just have people in my life to kind of show me, working out, nutrition, and how to build on that. And so I became more and more passionate about it. So it was always kind of my day job through college. I worked at a men's rehab where I taught them how to work out and kind of got them
Oh wow.
addicted to weights and not
Nice.
addicted to the other stuff, So that was
Right.
really, really
Right.
cool. And then in California, I was like, okay, I'm going to be an actor. I can either be a bartender or a personal trainer right now. And so I chose personal
For
training.
sure. The latter of the
And
former.
Yeah, and so now I work at Dave Fisher's Powerhouse Gym, and it's like one of the mecca. It's not Gold's, but it's like one of the mecca of like old school bodybuilders. So I get to work with some really cool people that are really serious about it. And I always like to just be with people who are better than me,
Right.
and that goes a long way. Working out with like monsters, like actual Greek gods, So that, I don't know, it's cool. But man, coming to Arkansas, I'm looking at the menus. We're going out to eat, and it's crazy, dude. Like I lived here for 23 years, 22 years, and I've been in California, and like it's a complete switch. Like I cannot eat this stuff here anymore. Like my body feels like I go into a coma. Like we got off the plane, and we go to David's Burgers in Bryan, Arkansas. And I'm like, yeah, let me just mess around with a burger. So I get the burger. I try to be good. I take the bun off, just do a steak burger. Yep. Yeah, but then they're passing out bottomless fries. And I'm like, oh, I gotta have like 4 plates of those. And then they have free ice cream. I'm like, what is going on? Like it's just non-existent in California. It's crazy.
And I'm sure just being around, the shirtless envy, so to speak, you're like, dude, if I'm going to set myself back months just from 2 weeks back home, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a modeling fashion show when I get off the plane on Wednesday in Malibu, and I was like, I'm going to see these fries.
Yeah, it's always, and I got to give you kudos, man. I'm sure you'll find a way to recover and get in those necessary hours. When I do martial arts, I have a black belt in karate, brown belt in taekwondo, and I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, right? And so it's similar to your gym envy. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this. And then you get in there with somebody who, does the tournaments every other weekend or is, and you're just like, smokes. This is for like you start realizing what's real and where your talent level lies, and it's a big humbling moment. I'll tell you that, man.
Yeah, man, MMA is a whole different world. That's awesome that you do that. Everybody needs to get on the mat at least once in their life.
I'm not an MMA. I want to, for disclosure on the show, I'm not a mixed martial artist. I take the style. I'm a student. I've never competed professionally. I've done tournaments. Now I have done tournaments, but jiu-jitsu.
Sure. But you know the art form, you know, and it's a hobby. It's cool.
You're right. It's a lot of fun, man. And martial arts is very, very, it's a huge discipline that's been a part of my life for a very long time. How did you, when you were doing theater in Arkansas, like as a kid, what was it? Schools? Was it independent? Where did it kind of come from?
Just high school. I started I guess I did a little plays, middle school. I did some stuff like Vacation Bible School, if anybody knows what that is.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and then so high school was like I did a play, and that was like the moment. I actually I was a wrestler and I was a football player, and I got in a really bad health position, and I had to give up on. Luckily, football was over, but my wrestling, I was set up to be state champion in wrestling, and then I got a really, really bad sickness, and I had to just stop. And I was like, and it was tough, but that transitioned me. My friend convinced me to do a play, and I got the bug, man. I was like, this is better than any sports game I've ever won. Like something like this is weird. It's artsy. It's like, I love this. And so that kind of stuck with me. I took it to college and I directed musicals. I organized plays. Yeah. And then I did some plays. I did a couple plays, and I was like, and it was just all fun. And then I was like, okay, hold on. Am I just going to mess around, or am I really going to,
get serious?
I really enjoy it. Right. And so that's just kind of how it took place.
Yeah, I checked out your Instagram too. I saw like you went to Chicago too as well too, and I thought that was really
never been to Chicago.
No, that's Chicago. What was the one with the sailors, with the guys with the, am I getting that wrong? Where it was like I saw something on your profile where they were like, it showed like some World War II soldiers. I thought that said Chicago in it. Or was it, am I getting
Sorry, I'm blanking. Where have I been?
Did I get that incorrect?
No, you probably got it right. I've been to several other countries.
Okay. I saw the picture you did in India, so if I was incorrect with that, I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine. I need to go to Chicago. But yeah, as far as plays and, I think you're talking about a play in Arkansas that I did.
Was it in Arkansas?
Oh, and no, I'm sorry. You're right. I did a play in San Francisco.
Okay.
With the Sailors. Yeah. The play in San Francisco. Yeah, the Port Chicago 50 in Santa Monica, and then we went to San Francisco.
Okay. I know and I apologize. Like I said, I saw something. I was like, I thought when I saw the sailors in there, I was like, okay, maybe I got that wrong. So, and sorry for the
No,
brightness.
you're good.
The sun is coming up, rising in the east from my window here. So I'm not
You're
going.
good. You're good.
I haven't died and gone to heaven yet. So yeah.
Yeah, Port Chicago 50 was a really cool play. This was my first play in LA, so that was fun.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool. Like I'm really excited for you. Now, you said you haven't done music, but you sing. How is your singing and your dancing? Because you get out of your comfort zone. So are you comfortable doing that?
Man, it's okay.
Okay.
If I got someone teaching me how to dance, I've done a lot of musical theater, which involves dancing most of the time, and so I can learn.
Okay.
I know how to shuffle a little bit,
Okay.
Yeah, music. I grew up singing, so I auditioned several times for some musical roles, and it's not like I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be on Broadway.
Yeah.
If it's there, it's there, But
for sure.
But yeah, it's a whole nother world. It's hard to convey certain things through music. I think it's really intense, and
for sure.
a lot of musical theater people don't get enough credit. Like that's a hard job.
I can only imagine. My oldest daughter plays violin, so it definitely
nice.
Seeing it up there. Yeah, it's and she wants to get into things like that, and I'm like, sweetheart, she does a really good job, and I'm encouraging her. But it's a whole other medium up there, playing an instrument and still conveying emotion, breath control, and then you're just like, these people are incredible. They really are. So I want to be very respectful of your time. So one question I just want to ask to end off with is, what advice do you give inspiring actors, to get into film, modeling, and the entertainment industry, such as yourself or just anybody in general?
Know your why. I guess if I'm answering right, I can talk about like the logistics, but I think keeping your mind okay, and adjusting to failure and adjusting to rejection, but knowing your why, I think it's unfortunate if you're coming in just to get famous. There's nothing against that. You can do reality TV, but you have to really know why you're doing it, because you're going to get burnt out if you don't, And so I've talked to a few actors where they're not really concrete in that. And it's really hard, when you're not very intentional about why you're an actor, and so if that makes sense. So once you have that, just laying down the framework, just get into class. That was so important to me. That's when things really changed, because I took a lot of theater classes in college and they were good. Like even renowned theater schools, people coming out of there would tell you like LA class is different. It's totally different. So, I started at Berg Studios, and I took classes at the Groundlings School Improv, and now I'm at a private school, Monet Studios.
Wonderful.
She's from Berg, and she's just amazing. And I'm just so fortunate to, first of all, be in a class of very talented actors, working actors, and then be with someone that's done it. She's been in the movie. She's been in the TV series.
Right.
And so just surround yourself with people who have been there, because it's very hard, if not impossible, to do that on your own.
Sure.
So yeah, like go back to what we were saying, like be around people that are better than you, be around people that are going to push you.
Absolutely.
And don't be one of those actors that says, I don't need to take class. It's going to mess up my whatever I have. No, that's BS, man. Like look at the greats, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. They all did classes. They're doing classes still. Like just be like one of the greats. Get your butt into class, and surround yourself with people who can help you, who can guide you, be your mentor, and just send up a prayer to the universe if something happens.
Right. It's no different than martial arts. You should still always be a student, right? You should still always, and that's really the philosophy of any type of art. If you don't use it, you really do truly lose it, and your industry is very competitive. And again, I want to give you a lot of credit for taking that leap of faith in yourself and that belief, because you're doing really well. And I'm honored that, that you carved out time out of your busy schedule, because like I said, my podcast is just a guy out of Detroit trying to find his niche. So I really appreciate your time.
I love it, man. I'm always down for a good conversation. I really enjoy these podcasts, and you're a great host, and
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Don't say you're just a podcaster. Like the podcasting world is huge. Like we need to have conversations. Everyone's scared to talk to each other,
Yeah, it's like the new thing where people just want to text, right? But like, everybody has to find their voice. I can't sing or dance, or and unless I starve myself for 6 months straight, I probably won't get a six-pack, but I'm further along than I was before. But at the end of the day, we all have to push ourselves to be better than what we were yesterday.
That's right.
So hey, much appreciate your time. So this is Rashad on the Tron Podcast with Nate Mays. We'll be seeing you up on billboards and movie trailers, worldwide very soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rashad. Enjoyed it.
Appreciate you.